This is the L2C Media Network on YouTube, and this is Steve Baxley Sports Final. Tonight, did Dallas win Game 7, or did lightning strike again? Oh, I just love the way I sing. And a whole lot more. Of course, Monday night quarterback. We take a look at the Monday night game and the Sunday night games in detail. But right now, as we like to do, we go like this, and we get you ready with our man Steve. All right, thank you very much, Harry von Stuttgart. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, one and all, to the Corsican Ball of Sports. And first of all, can we move the light just a little bit? That's right. Folks, the Tampa Bay Lightning, we got to congratulate them. Their second Stanley Cup in the team's existence. They did it tonight. They deserved it from the bubble in Edmonton. Give them their applause. There you go. There you go. Let them hear it in Edmonton. And once again, our friends over at I want to send sympathies to our friends north of the border. Once again, they had to have two American teams in the Stanley Cup Finals. But let's look at it this way. The big bubble was in Edmonton and Toronto. And, well, let's face it. You guys got Schitt's Creek. You guys got the Emmy for Schitt's Creek. So it's sort of a fair trade. You guys got the Emmy. We get the Stanley Cup, but maybe next year. And I think you got Rogers has got how many more years left on the Canadian broadcast rights? About they signed up for 12. So this is coming up on their 6th. And we don't know when the season starts for the 2020-2021 season. But once again, to our friends at both NBC, Sportsnet, and the French Canadian Network TVA, you all did an excellent job under conditions that would have made a production company or a sports network division go like this. But you pulled it off. Applause. Of course, NBC went to Toronto to do some of the game action. And, of course, CBC and Sportsnet, Rogers, blah, blah, did the Edmonton bit. So it was great to have both American and Canadian crews together on this one. And to your families who miss you all very much, an effort worthy of more applause. We'll talk more about the Stanley Cup and a whole lot more still to come. But first, hey, are you ready? Because right now, we got to do the MNQB. That's right, it's time for the Monday night quarterback, where we take all but the Sunday night. Well, you know what I mean. We go in review mode. So let's do it. And we'll get you with some headlines as well. So, without further ado, let's go to our review of all the games that took place in week 3, which saw some shocks, some surprises, and some downright stupidity. We'll explain that last one later. Right now, let's give you a recap of tonight's Monday Night Football game. that you saw on ESPN. That's right, everything went back to normal, or as normal as it'll ever be. From the M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, it was the 2-0 Chiefs going up against the 2-0 Ravens in the Week 3 concluder. Let's give you the deets, shall we? Patrick Mahomes put on a Superman show, outperforming Lamar Jackson. While outperforming Lamar Jackson and, of course, his team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes and the Chiefs definitely played the role of defending Super Bowl champions to a T in a 34-20 thump-a-rump of the Baltimore Ravens Monday night. Mahomes juked, danced, jumped in and out of the pocket. Sometimes he just dropped back and fired pinpoint throws downfield. The common thread was that just about everything he did worked against an overmatched and, shall we say, an underperforming Baltimore defense that allowed only 2 touchdowns in its first 2 games. With Mahomes leading the way, the Chiefs emphatically ended the Ravens' 14-game regular season winning streak while extending their own run to 12 games, including the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Mahomes went 31 of 42 for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was not intercepted. It was an interception-free game for at least the Kansas City Chiefs. And he avoided being sacked. The Chiefs led 27-10 at halftime and held on to defeat Baltimore for the 3rd year in a row. In a duel between Mahomes, the 2018 NFL MVP, and the player who won that honor last year, Jack, was no match for the man whose resume also includes a Super Bowl MVP trophy and, of course, the Lombardi. Jackson completed 15 of 28 passes for 97 yards, ran for 83 yards, 30 of them on 1 carry during the Ravens' opening possession. The fleet-footed quarterback is 21-4 as Baltimore's starter, and 3 of those defeats have come against Mahomes and the Chiefs. The Chiefs scored touchdowns on their first 2 possessions, one on a run by Mahomes, the other on a pass for a 13-3 lead. Following that second score, Ravens rookie Devin Duvernay, fielded the kickoff and sprinted down the right sideline for a 93-yard touchdown. Kansas City followed with a 3-and-out, but Baltimore simply could not contain Mahomes or, let's face it, anyone. For long after he got the ball back, Mahomes completed passes of 29 and 19 and 18 yards before hitting Tyreek Hill for a 20-yard score to cap a 73-yard drive. A 49-yard touchdown pass from Mahomes to Mecole Hardman put the Chiefs up by 17 at the half. The only other time Jackson trailed by that much at the break in an NFL game was last year when the Chiefs had a 23-6 lead. In this one, Mahomes pumped the brakes in the second half before Baltimore closed to 27-20. That's when Mahomes showed why he's the league's highest paid player, and the NFL's best quarterback. During a 13-play, 75-yard drive that produced the game-clinching score, Mahomes converted a 3rd and 5 with an 18-yard pass and ran for 12 yards on a 3rd and 10. He flipped a sidearm 12-yard pass to Sammy Watkins to set up a 1st and goal at the 2, from where Mahomes tossed a touchdown pass to appreciative tackle Eric Fisher, late 14 remaining. There was an estimated 250 people in the seats, consisting of family members of Ravens players, coaches, and front office personnel. They were scattered in several sections behind the Baltimore sidelines. They were far more animated than the cardboard cutouts of people behind each end zone. The Chiefs appeared to all, well, it was a fantastic game. Let's talk injuries. The Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed was ruled out in the 3rd quarter with a collarbone injury. Defensive end Alex Okafor, the hamstring, was inactive. Up next for the Chiefs, they host New England on Sunday. The Patriots are 2-1 with Cam Newton running the offense for the departed Tom Brady. Ravens, a short in-state road trip Sunday to face Washington, 1-2. Final score for Monday night. The now 3-0 Kansas City Chiefs 34. The 2-1 Baltimore Ravens 20. Let's get on with some more scores in the typical way that we do them, and that's like this. Let's go to the box. And one deserves no long-term discussion. It was the Bengals and the Eagles. And in this case, it's got me saying, what the what? Well, a simple fact of the matter, what the what? Indeed. Let's take you to the recap of the Bengals, Eagles. And yes, we're doing recaps. Let's get it going. Or are we doing the box score the way we usually do? Okay, let's do it. First quarter, there was no scoring. We go to the second quarter. Elliott, 27-yard field goal was good. 16 plays, 7 yards, 6:59 time possession, 3-0 Eagles. But the Bengals came roaring back. Bullock's 48-yard field goal was good. 4 plays, 13 yards, minute 17 seconds. Time of possession was tied at 3. Eagles came back. Elliott, 42-yard field goal was good. 10 plays, 61 yards, 4:46 time possession, 6-3 Eagles. But that was enough. Enough toying. It was time to get to real play. And Burrow passed short right to Higgins for a 1-yard touchdown. Bullock's extra point was good. 8 plays, 56 yards, minute 18 time possession. It was 10-6, the Bengals. Eagles came back once, passed deep right to Ward for a 29-yard touchdown. Elliott's extra point was good. 5 plays, 60 yards, a minute 13 time possession was 13-10 at the half. We go to the third quarter. Elliott had a 54-yard field goal. That was good. And I want you all to remember that number, 54-yard field goal. It'll come back to haunt them. We will explain. 10 plays, 34 yards, 6:21 time possession. It was 16-10. The Eagles. But Burrow came back, pass short left to Higgins again for a 4-yard touchdown. Bullock's extra point was good. 10 plays, 71 yards, 6:17 time possession. It was a 17-16 Bengals lead, and we go to the fourth quarter, and this is where things started to, well, get interesting, to say the least. Bullock for the Bengals, 31-yard field goal was good. 7 plays, 31 yards, minute 53. Time possession was the Bengals by 4, 20-16. Bullock then came back later for a 25-yard field goal. That was good. 12 plays, 82 yards, 6:59 time possession. Bengals led 23-16. It was a 7-point lead. But Wentz came back. Scrambled right and went in 7 yards for a touchdown. Elliott's extra point was good. And we were at overtime. 11 plays, 47 yards, 2:44 the time of possession. And then overtime came, no scoring. But the Eagles, they had a chance to win the game. You are probably not going to believe this. They had a chance to win the game. This was ridiculous. While Burrow played mistake-free, the Eagles, wow, they just stood there. And they had it within field goal range in overtime, but, well, they must have forgot because they were caught twice. Delay of game pushed them back far from the field goal range, and they were forced to punt. And that was it for overtime. Game ended 23 apiece. Final tie, Bengals, Eagles. Wow. It was just strange way to end that game. And it was a strange way to end, period. As we continue this little fun fest. That was the Bengals Phillies, or that was the Bengals Eagles in a tie. Let's give you the Rams and Bills It was nice. Let's get you. Yep, let's do the recap of the Bills game. And it was simple. It was simple, like magic. It was Allen's best game and the worst, bar none, for the LA Rams. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right, all right, all right. Okay, Josh Allen might get credit for saving the Bills from monumental second half meltdown. The third-year starter was more upset that he helped put the team in that position to begin with. 2 second-half turnovers led to the Rams rallying from a 25-point deficit, but Allen bailed the Bills out by completing a 3-yard pass to tight end Tyler Kroft with 15 seconds remaining to secure a 35-32 win on Sunday. The game appeared to be a blowout once Allen hit Stephon Diggs for a 4-yard pass to put Buffalo up 28-3 with 8:05 left in the third, and it instead ended up being a nail-biter. Jared Goff led the Rams to score on 4 consecutive drives, and LA took the lead on Darrell Henderson's 1-yard run with 4:30 remaining in the game. Allen responded by marching the Bills on an 11-play, 75-yard drive, hit Cole Beasley for 16 yards on 3rd and 25, and then got help from a pass interference penalty against Darius Williams on 4th and 7. One play later, Allen had time to drop back and wait for Kroft to cut across the middle. Watching as Kroft got a step past linebacker Micah Kiser, Allen lofted a pass which tight end reached up and caught before tumbling to the ground for a second touchdown of the game. Buffalo has won its first 3 games in consecutive seasons. First time the franchise has done that since 91-92 and the third overall. The Rams failed to match what would have been their 3rd largest comeback in NFL regular season history. They blamed themselves for digging such a deep hole, but they also were unhappy with the officials, either for the call against Williams. Kroft played a role in Allen's interception. He made a leaping catch, but had the ball stripped from his arms by Johnson. But Kroft, who spent the past 2 seasons bothered by foot and ankle injuries, ultimately capitalized while filling in for an injured starter, Dawson Knox, who was sidelined by concussion. Allen finished 24 of 33 for 311 yards with 4 touchdown passes and also scored on a 1-yard run. He's had a hand in 12 touchdowns, the most in team history through the first 3 games of the season. Hall of Famer Jim Kelly held the record of 10 set in 91. It was the 8th successful fourth-quarter comeback for Allen in his 3 seasons. Last week, the Bills overcame a 2017 fourth-quarter deficit to beat Miami 31-28. Goff went 23 of 32 for 321 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Aaron Donald had 2 sacks and also forced an Allen fumble, which he recovered at the Bills' 37. The recovery led to Henderson's touchdown, which put the Rams up 32-28. And the injuries, let's go to them right now. For the Rams, safety Jordan Fuller did not return after sustaining a shoulder injury in the first half, and wide receiver John Brown for the Bills injured a calf in the first half, did not return. Safety Micah Hyde hurt his left ankle in the fourth quarter, but returned after missing just 1 play. Next Sunday, Rams take on the Giants, and the Bills make the first of 3 West Coast trips, playing at the Vegas Raiders next Sunday. Ooh, is that going to be a fun game? Okay, let's keep the love going for our Monday night quarterback. Let's get you a recap. It was the Bears and Falcons, and what had to be the strangest game since, well, the Falcons and the Cowboys. Let's get you to recap. This one took place at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Hotlanta, GA, Gaga City. And you had to realize this was going to be a game that the Falcons needed to win. No matter how bad things might have seemed a week ago, the Atlanta Falcons somehow managed to make it even worse. Another epic fourth-quarter collapse. Who do they think they are, the Detroit Lions? This one could, however, spell the end for embattled coach Dan Quinn. Quinn. Anyway, who also carried the burden of the biggest squandered lead in Super Bowl history. The Falcons surrendered a 16-point advantage in the final 6.5 minutes to the Bears, who got 3 touchdown passes from backup quarterback Nick Foles and pulled out a 30-26 win on Sunday. On Sunday, Atlanta became the first team in NFL history to lose back-to-back games in which it led by 15 or more points in the final period, according to stats. A week ago, Atlanta became a national laughingstock after failing to pounce on an onside kick, allowing the Dallas Cowboys to finish off their comeback from a 39-24 deficit to win 40-39 on a field goal as time expired. Forgive me, I'm just got through sneezing. Now, under Quinn, the Falcons also wasted a 23 lead in the Super Bowl after the 2016 season and lost in overtime to the New England Patriots. Quinn has faced questions about his job security after the latest debacle. He insisted that he's only focused on turning things around. But, did he help? Well, actually, meanwhile, on the other side, Foles guided the improbable comeback after relieving erratic Mitchell Trubisky in the third quarter, pushing the Bears to 3-0 for the first time since 2013. The former Super Bowl MVP won it with a 28-yard touchdown pass to Anthony Miller with 1:53 remaining. Foles had 2 apparent touchdown passes overturned by official reviews and still managed to pull out the victory. He tossed a 3-yard touchdown pass to Graham to make it 26-16 with 6:20 to go. The Falcons still appeared in good shape after the Bears failed on a 2-point attempt. But Chicago got the ball back and moved quickly down the field. Foles connected with Allen Robinson on a short pass to turn into the 37-yard touchdown with Isaiah Oliver and Blitty Ren Wilson both missed tackles, allowing the receiver to scoot down the sideline. After the Falcons went 3-and-out on the third straight possession, Foles heaved one down the middle of the field with a rusher in his face. Miller hauled it in for the winning score. Falcons still had a shot, but Matt Ryan's pass was intercepted by Tayshaun Gibson to seal it. Foles finished 16 of 29 for 188 yards. Trubisky, the number 2 overall pick in the 2017 draft, was 13 of 22 for 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. Brian Hill and Todd Gurley each ran for a touchdown, and Ryan connected with Hayden Hurst on a short TD pass that helped stake the Falcons to their seemingly comfortable lead. Of course, no lead is safe for the Falcons, especially with Foles recapturing some of the magic he had in guiding the Eagles to the Super Bowl title 3 seasons ago after replacing the injured Carson Wentz. Foles spent 1 injury-plagued season in Jacksonville that was acquired by the Bears to put some heat on the disappointing Trubisky. Trubisky set up Chicago's first touchdown with the second longest run of his career, 45-yarder after the Falcons abandoned the entire middle of the field. He connected on Graham on a 2-yard scoring pass to pull the Bears within 16-10 at halftime. But Foles got his chance after Trubisky threw an interception in the third quarter that led to a Falcons field goal, pushing the league 26-10. And the injury report, by the way, Bears, but we all know the win was right there thanks to Foles and his keen hand and great eye. Okay, the injury report. Bears running back Tariq Cohen left the game in the second half with a knee injury. DeSherrick McManus was knocked out by an ailing hamstring. For the Falcons played without 6 starters, including wide receiver Julio Jones, hamstring also missing. Linebacker Foy Okulun, the hamstring. Offensive tackle Caleb McGarry, knee. Defensive end Tech McKinley, groin. Safety Ricardo Allen, elbow, and cornerback A.J. Terrell, COVID-19 reserve list. The Falcons then lost wide receiver Russell Gage to a concussion in the first half, and defensive tackle Grady Jarrett hobbled up in the second half with a hip injury. Up next, the Bears return home to face the Indianapolis Colts, while the Falcons go from bad to worse. First the Bears, now the Packers, And a Monday night game to finish off week number 4. Final score, Bears 30, Falcons 26. Okay, let's hit them up with a recap of Washington and the Browns, and we'll get all the rest done. Then we'll get you some headlines, and we'll do a little hockey bye-bye for you all. Meanwhile, at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, it was Washington taking on the suddenly hot Cleveland Browns. I'm not kidding. They were suddenly smoking hot. For the first time in 6 years, the Browns have a winning record, and they want to keep it that way. Baker Mayfield threw 2 touchdown passes. Nick Chubb ran for 2 more. Garrett had a... Do we have the gentleman's... Myles Garrett, defensive end, had a key sack, and the Browns moved over, first time ever, the Mendoza line, over 500 for the first time since 2014 with a 34-20 win over Washington, which lost rookie defensive end Chase Young to a groin injury. With their second straight win under first-year coach Kevin Stefanski, the Browns are 2-1 for the first time since 2011. It's also the first time they've had a winning record since Week 14 in 2014, when they were 7-6 before dropping their last 3 and costing Mike Pettine his job. Cleveland gone 90 consecutive weeks without a winning record. The Browns won just 4 games from 2015 to 2017. And while the start is notable, Stefanski downplayed its significance. Thank you. Now, Young, the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft, left in the second quarter with his injury. The former Ohio State All-American had early pressure on Mayfield, but otherwise no impact before he went out. Washington coach Ron Rivera did have a specific update on Young, who will receive more treatment and evaluation today. Young joined his teammates on the sideline second half and was animated while cheering them on. Led by Garrett, the Browns defense, which spent the week hearing about Young and Washington's sack-hungry front, intercepted Dwayne Haskins 3 times and forced 2 fumbles. Garrett's strip sack and recovery midway through the fourth effectively sealed Cleveland's win. He had a similar play last week and win over Cincinnati. Mayfield's 3-yard touchdown pass to rookie tight end Harrison Bryant with 11:14 left helped the Browns shake off a horrid third quarter when Washington scored 2 touchdowns to take the lead. Chubb then scored on a 20-yard run with 8:40 left to make it 31-20. The touchdown coming after linebacker B.J. Goodson hit the Haskins at the Washington 35. Chubb finished with 108 yards on 19 carries, and the Browns leaned on the third-year back to wear down Washington in the fourth. Haskins threw 2 TD passes to Dontrell Inman, but the second-year QB continued to make mental errors, and his 2 picks before halftime helped Cleveland open a 17-7 lead. Young came into the game tied for league lead with 2.5 sacks, and the Browns spent the week scheming ways to slow him down. And without Young, Washington's defensive front lost some of its teeth, and the Browns took advantage. Chubb's 16-yard touchdown in the second quarter was a thing of beauty that was a joy forever. The game, by the way, marked the first time 2 female coaches were on the sideline with a female official on the field. Jennifer King is on Washington's staff, while Callie Brownson is the chief of staff for Stefanski. Sarah Thomas was the down judge. And that really made things even more fun and interesting. The injury bug hit Washington. Inman hurt his wrist in the fourth quarter. Besides Young, the defensive line lost depth when tackle Matt Ionis injured his arm in the first half. For the Browns, cornerback Denzel Ward, groin, started after being listed as questionable but didn't play in the second half. Stefanski said wide receiver JoJo Nathan will have an MRI on his injured knee. Now next Sunday, Washington hosts the Baltimore Ravens, while the Browns visit Dallas next Sunday for the first time since 2012, when Cleveland lost in overtime on its previous trip to Jerry's World. 34-20 Browns over Washington. All right, let's keep this love fest going. We go high, we go low, we go everywhere we go. The way San Francisco played, missing quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and a slew of starters, was not an issue. No, it wasn't. Against the woeful and winless New York Giants. Backup Nick Mullins threw for 343 yards and a touchdown, and the Niners controlled the ball on offense, took it away on defense. I had another easy day on the East Coast in 36-9 win at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. San Francisco played a near flawless game as Mullins hit 25 for 36 passes, including a 19-yard touchdown pass to running back Jeff Wilson. It outgained New York 420 to 231, held the ball for 39 minutes and 44 seconds, and forced 3 turnovers without giving the ball up. The Giants did not run a play in the red zone. Wilson, Jerick McKinnon, and Brandon Ayuk also scored on runs for the Niners, who stayed in West Virginia to prep for the game. Robbie Gould added 3 field goals for San Francisco, which last week beat the Jets 31-13, and denied Giants coach Joe Judge a chance for his first win this week. Niners had Garoppolo with an ankle injury, defensive lineman Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas, knee injuries, and running back Raheem Mostert and Tavon Coleman hurt against the Jets. They complained about the new turf after the game, saying it was sticky and led to injuries. The NFL said, we re-examined it and met all the standards. San Francisco scored on 7 of its first 8 possessions. It would have been all 8, but a snap hold problem led to Gould missing a 55-yard field goal. He connected from 52, 32, and 26 yards. The Niners' 9th possession ended the game. New York, which came into the game as the NFL's lowest scoring offense, got 3 field goals from Graham Gano, the second of which tied the game at 6. But after that, it was all San Francisco. Now, let's get to the injuries. And once again, San Francisco won. They lost. They were without George Kittle, tight end, Akello Witherspoon, cornerback, and linebacker Dre Greenlaw for the game. They lost Emmanuel Mosley to a head injury and tight end Jordan Reed to an ankle injury Sunday. Mosley was hurt making a tackle on Jones's run early in the second quarter. Reed, who caught 2 touchdowns last week, filling in for the injured Kittle, was hurt late in the first, trying to make a catch in the end zone. He returned briefly in the second quarter. Giants safety Jabril Peppers did not play after he hurt his right sprained ankle trying to block. Pity. San Francisco plays at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Meanwhile, the Giants traveled to LA to face the Rams for the first time since 94. That's right. From 95 to 2015, the Rams were based in St. Louis. 36-9, San Francisco over the Giants. We'll give you the rest of the moments that occurred for Sunday's Week 3. In a brief moment. First, we want to tell you that Nick Rekieta is back, and well, this weekend, so too was a familiar foe, Ron Toye. And again, Ron Toye has not learned a lesson. Nick Rekieta is going to be talking about that on Lost Explaining the Interwebs and a whole lot more. In fact, he's on the air right now, midnight Eastern, 11 Central, only on the Rekieta Law channel, only on YouTube. Mm. Don't you love farce? Mm. Okay, our next recap takes us to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers took on the Houston Texans. And the Steelers spent 2 quarters trying to hem in Deshaun Watson. It didn't take. After watching the Houston quarterback moved the Texans up and down Heinz Field with remarkable ease, the Steelers blew up their meticulously put-together game plan and went back to their default setting. Attack! I want to stick with that one, probably for good. Slicing into the backfield relentlessly, the Steelers put the clamps on the Texans in the second half to rally for a 28-21 victory that pushed them to 3-0 for the first time in a decade. Houston managed just 51 yards and 2 first downs over in the final 30 minutes to fall 0-3. Houston's defense wilted late, giving up a 12-play, 79-yard touchdown drive, following a pick by Watson, one that ended up with James Conner's 12-yard sprint that put the Steelers up 28-21. With 6:24 to go, Pittsburgh forced its third 3-and-out of the second half on Houston's next possession, and the Steelers then ran off the final 4:47 that began with a 25-yard dash by Conner and ended with 3 anticlimactic knee downs inside the Houston 10. Conner finished with 109 yards rushing and added 40 yards receiving. He had plenty of help from rookie Anthony McFarland, who ran for 42 yards on 6 carries in his NFL debut, and Benny Snell Jr., who converted a key 3rd and 1 on the go-ahead touchdown drive after opening the season with 2 relatively drama-free wins. The Steelers need to overcome an early 11-point deficit to stay perfect. And perfect they did. Ben Roethlisberger for Pittsburgh threw for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns, his franchise record, 221st appearance, breaking record set by Hall of Fame center Mike Webster. 38-year-old even paid tribute to Webster by throwing a block on Houston linebacker Jacob Martin on wide receiver Deontay Johnson's 9-yard reverse in the second quarter. Roethlisberger gave the credit for his longevity to the men who have protected him throughout the years and stressed he doesn't believe he's eclipsed Webster. And the injuries for Texans, safety A.J. Moore left with a hamstring injury in the first half, did not return. Steelers, Johnson exited in the second quarter due to a concussion on a play where Roethlisberger helped pave the way for a short gain. Up next for the Texans, they host Minnesota next Sunday, looking to avoid their first 0-4 start, while the Steelers travel to Tennessee to take on the unbeaten Titans, who are 3-0. Final score, Steelers 28, Texans 21. We travel like never before to the stadium that a Razor built, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the Patriots played host to the undefeated Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go to the brief recap. Rex Burkhead can't remember the last time he scored 3 touchdowns in a game, but he said every time he reached the end zone, well, guess what? It was for James White. Burkhead had 2 rushing touchdowns, received TD, and Bill Belichick joining, and receiving touchdown. Thank you. Burkhead had 2 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown, and Bill Belichick joined George Halas at 318. John Shula at 328 is the only coaches in NFL history to reach 275 regular season victories in the New England Patriots 36-20 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. And with James White out, The Patriots running backs picked up the slack for an offense that struggled early. Sonny Michael finished with 9 carries for 117 yards. As a team, New England rushed for a season-high 250 yards. Cam Newton was 17 of 28 passing for 162 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Shalik Calhoun had 2 forced fumbles, and Dietrich Wise a fumble recovery for a score. The Patriots have won the last 6 meetings with the Raiders and improved to 47-9 in regular season games following a loss. Raiders coach John Gruden dropped to 0-3 against Belichick. Derek Carr finished 24 of 32 for 261 yards and 2 TDs for Vegas, but he had 2 fumbles that led to a field goal for New England and a late touchdown when he lost the ball in the end zone, and it was recovered by Wise. Josh Jacobs also had a fumble. Vegas opened the season by scoring at least 34 points in its first 2 games with 6 red zone touchdowns. The Raiders were also second in the NFL, converting on 57% of third downs. They went just 2 for 5 in the red zone and 3 of 9 on third down Sunday. The offenses were stagnant in the first half as both teams struggled to get into a groove. Things changed for the Patriots on their first drive of the third quarter when Michael, who struggled in the first 2 games, broke free for a 38-yard run. A 15-yard pass from Newton to Burkhead got the Patriots into the red zone. 3 plays later, Burkhead capped the drive with a spinning 5-yard touchdown run to stretch New England's lead to 20-10. After both teams traded field goals, the Patriots took over with 11:22 remaining and ate up more than 5 minutes of clock with a 10-play, 86-yard drive that was capped with a 5-yard touchdown plunge by Burkhead. Let's take a look now at the injuries, and there's only one. Raiders cornerback Damon Arnett left with a thumb injury. Up next, the Raiders host Buffalo next Sunday, while the Patriots visit defending champion Kansas City next Sunday. Final score, Patriots 36, the Raiders 20. We continue on our merry little Chase and Sanborn way. Let's keep going. Let's do it. Titans, Vikings, recapping that one. Easy as pie. And, well, whoever said pie was easy, by her. Okay, let's do the recap of this game. Let's make this quick because we got some headlines and some, an NHL score to talk about. So let's get going. Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans have had little reason to sweat those tight finishes. There's that shaky start with his new team, now distant memory. Steven Gronkowski had this late game part down a long time ago. Gronkowski made his career-high 6th field goal to the game, a 55-yarder with 1:44 left that lifted undefeated Tennessee to a 31-30 victory over the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday after Tannehill directed another comeback. Derrick Henry rushed 26 times for 119 yards and 2 third-quarter touchdowns for the Titans, who improved to 3-0 for the first time since 2008 after trailing for a total of 32 minutes, 7 seconds of the game, including a 12-point deficit until late in the third quarter. Tannehill passed for 321 yards, guiding the Titans on a go-ahead drive in the fourth quarter or overtime for the 6th time in 16 games since becoming the starter. The Titans are 12-4 behind Tannehill, including the playoffs, and they're 15-0 when Henry, the NFL rushing leader, last year hits the 100 mark. Tannehill, who was picked off in the end zone by Harrison Smith in the second quarter, hit Caleb Freeman 3 times for a career-high 118 yards and connected with 7 different receivers in the absence of star A.J. Brown for the second straight game to a knee injury. Gronkowski, the 4-time Pro Bowler pick and 3-time Super Bowl team with the Patriots, who signed with Tennessee just 10 days before the regular season began, missed 3 field goals in the 40 to 49-yard range and 2 extra points over his first 2 performances with the Titans. The 15-year veteran has 3 game-winning kicks with less than 2 minutes left in 3 games, though the Titans have a net scoring margin of just 6 points. Where are we here? Good. Dalvin Cook rushed for a career-high 181 yards and a score, and rookie Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for 175 yards and a touchdown for the Vikings, who are 0-3 for the first time since 2013, the year before Mike Zimmer was hired as the new coach. Injuries for the Titans. Left tackle Taylor Lewan hurt his shoulder late in the first quarter, did not return. He was replaced by Ty Sambrailo. Linebacker Vic Beasley Jr. played sparingly in his Titans debut after missing the first 2 games with a knee injury. For the Vikings, with defensive end Danielle Hunter hurt with his neck, and linebacker Anthony Barr pectoral on injured reserve, and cornerback Mike Hughes neck, and cornerback Cameron Danzler rib on the inactive list. The Vikings were missing 4 big starters from their first choice lineup. Up next, Titans host Pittsburgh, while the Vikings play at Houston. Final score, Titans 31, Vikings 30. Okay, we got just wowzers. Let's get to it. Jets and Colts, this one, well, simple yet unrefined, as you're about to find out. Jets took on the Colts, and, well, you might as well say a very short recap, because it was all Colts. In this game, 36-7 over the New York Jets. Oh, what an embarrassment for the Jets and their fans. Xavier Rhodes delivered the first punch Sunday for the Indianapolis Colts. T.J. Carey finished it off on a milestone day for Phillip Rivers. Rhodes and Carey each returned an interception for a touchdown. Indianapolis recorded second safety in as many weeks, and Rivers added his 400th career touchdown pass as the Colts routed the New York Jets 36-7. It's the first time since October 1970 the Colts returned 2 INTs for scores in a game, which also happened against the Jets. The Colts came in with the league's top-rated defense and could stay there after picking off 3 more passes, giving up just 260 yards and 7 points. Before a franchise better known for high-scoring offenses, getting 18 points from defense has been a welcome addition. Couple that with Rivers, who got rid of the ball quickly and crisply while avoiding mistakes on a milestone day. The 38-year-old quarterback went 17 of 21 with 217 yards, becoming the 6th player in league history to throw 400 career touchdown passes and the 6th to top 60,000 yards. He passed Dan Marino, Hall of Famer for the Miami Dolphins, for 5th all-time in completions and broke a tie with Hall of Famer Minnesota Viking man Fran Tarkenton for 8th in league history with win number 125. Rivers now has exactly 400 touchdowns, 60,065 yards, 4,980 completions. As for the Jets, well, Darnold answered with a 16-yard touchdown pass to Braxton Berrios to tie it midway through the first quarter, and that was it. He finished 17 of 27 with 168 yards, 1 touchdown, and interceptions. Final score, Colts 36, Jets 7. Short but sweet. Panthers took on the Chargers. Another short and sweet one. We aimed to please. We do. Let's give it to you. Carolina had the Chargers right in their eyes. Let's go to the recap. From SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, which has become more of a pleasure for the visitors than the home team. Carolina was missing Christian McCaffrey, but got big efforts on defense and special teams to give Coach Matt Rule his first NFL victory. Panthers forced 3 Los Angeles turnovers, and Joey Sly kicked 5 field goals in a 21-16 win over the Chargers on Sunday. Carolina snapped a 10-game losing streak dating to last season. It came down to the final play with the Chargers in possession for a go-ahead touchdown in the final seconds. They had not recorded a sack and allowed 65 points in their first 2 games, but looked like a different unit. They set they sacked Justin Herbert twice and converted 3 turnovers into 12 points. The Panthers averaged 3.9 yards per carry without the All-Pro McCaffrey, who will miss at least 2 more games with a high ankle sprain. Mike Davis had 91 scrimmage yards, 46 rushing, 45 receiving, and a touchdown. The Chargers have dropped 2 straight after winning their opener in Cincinnati. Herbert became the 3rd quarterback since the merger to throw for 300 yards in his first 2 starts. The rookie was 35 of 49 for 330 yards and a touchdown, but also a fumble and an interception. Allen had 13 receptions for 136 yards and a touchdown, while Eckler had 159 scrimmage yards, 59 rushing, 80 receiving, and a score. Final score, Carolina 21, Los Angeles Chargers 16. Let's take you on a slow boat to Bradyville. That's what they're calling the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the Broncos 28-10. And we give you the results of that trial. That's right. Let's give you the recap of this game. From Mile High Empire Field at Mile High Stadium in the beautiful city of Denver, Colorado, and didn't care Mile High anything. Tom Brady was comfortable, and it showed in his play. Before kickoff, Tom Brady sauntered over to Peyton Manning, who owns 4 fewer Super Bowl rings, but has something Brady desperately craves, a championship with the second team. Brady didn't used to like seeing Manning on this field in the Mile High City, where he and his old team, the Patriots, lost twice to Manning and the Broncos in the playoffs. But just like Manning was at this stage in 2012 after coming over from Indianapolis, Brady is still adjusting to his new surroundings, and he finds fault more than fulfillment, even in a resounding victory. Brady had some company in his success Sunday. Rob Gronkowski caught a half dozen passes. Shaq Barrett celebrated his homecoming with a pair of sacks, one for a safety. With his first road win for the Bucs, Brady evened his career record against the Broncos at 9-9 with just his 5th win in a dozen trips to Denver. Now, before Sunday, the Broncos were the only team in the NFL with a winning record against the 6-time Super Bowl champion. But this also marked the first time in almost a decade that the Buccaneers won back-to-back games by 14 or more points. The Broncos completed a second straight winless September under head coach Vic Fangio, who donated a face shield a la Andy Reid after getting fined, who donned a face shield a la Andy Reid after getting fined $100,000 for failing to wear a face mask last week. Barrett, who led the league last year with 19.5 sacks in his first season in Tampa, picked up his first sack of the season in the city where he played from 2014 to 2018 after starting at Colorado State. Barrett's second sack of Jeff Driscoll, who started in place of Drew Lock with a shoulder injury, came in the end zone for a safety that pushed the Bucs' lead to 25-10. Afterwards, Barrett performed the signature sack dance of Bradley Chubb, a friendly jab at the 2018 first-round pick, whose selection helped Barrett decide to leave Denver after that season. Chris Godwin caught a 10-yard touchdown pass in his return from a concussion before leaving the second half with a hamstring injury, and Mike Evans had 2 1-yard touchdown grabs as the Bucs took a 23-10 halftime lead. And just days after insisting he was in Tampa to serve as a blocking tight end, Gronkowski caught 6 passes for 48 yards after getting shut out last week and coming in the game with just 2 receptions for 11 yards. And that helped the Buccaneers beat the Broncos 28-10. In the beautiful city of, he says with dramatic pause, Glendale, Arizona, the Arizona Cardinals took on the hapless Detroit Lions. How hapless? When you get Terry Bradshaw to say the team should get a new owner, new coach, new president, and a new quarterback, that's a time when you got to kick it in gear. And it was the kind of moment that had stymied the Detroit Lions for a long, long time. during their 11-game losing streak, a potential game-winning play, a gut punch penalty that reversed it, and the realization that nothing was going to come easy. But for Matthew Stafford, he has seen a lot during his 12 seasons as a Detroit Lion quarterback, and he wasn't going to let this opportunity slip away. Stafford calmly led a drive in the final minutes. It was capped by Matt Prater's 39-yard field goal as time expired, and the Lions won for the first time in 11 months by beating the Cardinals 26-23 on Sunday. Their next game back home against New Orleans. Right now they're 1-2, and if I were Matt Patricia and Bobby Quinn, oh boy, would I start to think very big. And very soon. Finally, the Cowboys took on the Seattle Seahawks. And we're going to just give you the briefness of our recap report. Let's go to it, shall we? Yes, we shall. So here we go. Let's go to the recap very fast because we got about 10 minutes to go. DK Metcalf made an unforgivable blunder by starting his celebration too soon. A textbook example of what not to do. His coach told him so. So did his quarterback. While given the chance to redeem himself, Metcalf came through in the final minute, and this time there was no question about the celebration. Metcalf caught a 29-yard touchdown pass from Richard Wilson with 1:47 remaining, and the Seattle Seahawks held off the Dallas Cowboys 38-31 on Sunday. Wilson threw 5 touchdown passes, setting a record for most scoring passes in the first 3 games of the season with 14. Patrick Mahomes threw for 13 in 3 games to launch his MVP season in 2018. Wilson also became the first quarterback to have at least 4 touchdown passes in each of the first 3 games. Final score, Cowboys 31, Seattle 38, and with that is your Monday Night Quarterback. And now, let's get on with the headlines. And the big headline of all headlines, let's go to the mini scoreboard right now, is 24 minutes past the hour of midnight. And that season, most bizarrely, has ended. And it's a simple bit of avoudage, because Tampa Bay defeated Dallas 2-0 to take the Stanley Cup back to Tampa Bay 4-2 in a wild game. How wild? Well, the score says itself. Lightning over the Stars 2-0. Hedman, Point, and Vasilevsky all for Tampa Bay. They were perfect. Hedman won the Conn Smythe Trophy, but it was Stamkos who would get the biggest hardware. He would be the first to hold on to Lord Stanley's coveted chalice. And for a bizarre season, an irregular season, the Lightning deserved the Stanley Cup more than ever. Hard work and determination in a season that wasn't exactly your traditional season, after it stopped in March and then came back in mid-August, or then came back in like June, July, August, September to finish up. It was all simple from there. And now the question of just what's going to happen for next NHL season. When will they begin play on that? We'll have to find out soon as we can. But there's your NHL. The NBA, of course, Miami defeated, made it a little better and a little sweeter. Sadly, the Clippers' problems, well, not good. After collapsing in the playoffs, the Clippers decided to cut bait with their famed coach. There were other factors beyond the coach's control. Normally, the preseason championship favorite blows a 3-1 lead in the second round of the playoffs. The coach's firing would require little by way of explanation. This is particularly true if said team had a double-digit lead in the second half of each of its last three games. And come on, guys. Give me a break here. Thank you. They fired Doc Rivers tonight. It was a stunner. This is because of Rivers' stellar resume and because he has meant so much to the franchise for the past 7 years. It is also because 13 days after their Game 7 loss to Denver Nuggets, their playoff exit still seems a bit strange. At times this postseason, bizarre though it may be, the Clippers look like the potential champions they were supposed to be after Game 1 of the Nuggets series. One could credibly argue Kawhi Leonard was the best player of the league. He just scored 94 points on 38 for Dallas in a 120-97 win against Denver. But when Los Angeles went cold, it was pure Antarctica. Each time the Nuggets erased the deficit, they did so with poise and precision. They targeted the Clippers' weaker defenders, bent their defense contrast to what was happening on the other end as Los Angeles looked unsure of itself, disjointed and disconnected. Now, this would be enough typically to justify firing a coach, and surely Rivers bears some of the responsibility. But it should... If the idea behind this move is that someone had to be held accountable, then it's worth to ask why it was Rivers. It was also worth asking what exactly happened at those collapses. On the latter, there are all sorts of factors. Nuggets played effective defense, both one-on-one and helping and recovering when the Clippers stars put the ball on the floor. The Clippers didn't respond to heightened pressure by moving the ball and making the defensive sink. The Clippers' defensive problems compounded their offensive issues because they had to go against Denver's set defense. The Clippers weren't in good enough condition, so they were running out of steam and making mental mistakes. Marcus Morris, more at center, since they were getting destroyed in Montreal in Montrezl Harrell's minutes, and Nikola Jokic was cooking Ivica Zubac. Rivers could have played Lou Williams more just to give the Clippers more juice on offense. Rivers could have had Leonard guard Jokic more often. Rivers could have used different coverages against Jamal Murray and Jokic's two-man game. Switching could have... We'll have to wait and see. But don't think Doc Rivers is going to be out of work too long. Apparently, Washington is now interested in him. Oh, shock of shocks. Miss who? Shock of shocks. That's right. The 76ers and the Pelicans have already reached out per a report. That's right. And who knows? I think he'd be a good fit for the 76ers. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens as the offseason begins. 76ers, they'd be good for Doc Rivers. New Orleans Pelicans, never know. But Doc Rivers, gone from the Clippers after 7 seasons, and I think personally, he'd look good as a 76er coach. Pelicans need someone more style and substance. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, we are at 12:31. And let's get more sports headlines. And once again, time being a precious few. Let's give some more headlines here while we give a little chance. And here we go. It's been more than a month since the Ravens released. It's been more than a month since Baltimore Ravens released star safety Earl Thomas following a practice altercation with fellow safety Earl Clark. During that time, not a single team brought Thomas in for a visit or a workout. This week, that'll change. Multiple reports say Thomas is visiting the Houston Texans this week and will put in a workout with the team, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. A deal this week is more likely than not, but Thomas would first have to pass COVID protocols before signing the deal. Thomas spent the first 9 seasons of his career starring for the Seattle Seahawks, blossoming to arguably the best all-around safety in the game. He made the Pro Bowl 6 times and the All-Pro First Team 3 times, won a Super Bowl, nearly won another, and made the Pro Football Hall of Fame's All-2010 team as well. So we wish him luck. Okay, let's go for some short passes, and then we will say our goodnights. Another 49er injury, and yes, friends, it's a big one. Again, that MetLife Stadium turf is the culprit. Jordan Reed sprains an MCL at Giants MetLife Stadium. He'll miss 6 to 8 weeks, according to Kyle Shanahan. Ohio State got some good news on 2 stars who had opted out. Wyatt Davis and Shaun Wade have been cleared to play this season. So says Ryan Day. And I know we're late and we're all celebrating, but right now, let's celebrate one big thing. It's time for the scoreboard. It's time for us to give you all that we got. That's right. It is time for the board. Give you all the scores that we can from soccer and baseball from Japan, Korea. And that'll do it. That's right. Soccer and little baseball. Been very, very good to all of us. A little reminder. I don't know. Did they have the Did they have the grand final yet of Australian football? Because if they did, then we screwed up. Hey, your guess is as good as moi. But anyway, we got the scoreboard popping up. We'll give you as good scores as we can from the world of soccer and baseball. And let's kick it in gear, folk. Because after midnight minutes over our lot, so let's get to some soccer and some little hockey and a little baseball from foreign lands. All right, we're cooking on all cylinders. Let's make sure we kick on all of them. Okay, in the Premier League, Aston Villa defeated Fulham 3-0. Liverpool defeated Arsenal 3-1. In Cities A, Italia, Bologna defeated Parma 4-1. In baseball, there was only one game in Japan. It was the Hiroshima Carp over the Yokohama Bay Stars 4-0, 4-7-0 for the Carp, 0-7-0 for the Bay Stars. Curry gets the win for the Carp. He's 5-5, and Kiyoyama gets a loss for the Bay Stars. He's 1-1. And, well, as quick as that, that's our scoreboard. And even quickly, that's it for us. We thank you for watching. We're a little bit behind, but we made it. Congratulations again to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Their second Stanley Cup. The second time they hold Lord Stanley's coveted chalice. We don't know if there's going to be a victory parade or even a victory boat parade. Stand by on that. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, and praying for us. The prayers work. We're still here. Thanks, everybody. We're back at 11:30 tomorrow night with more scores and more madness. Until then, I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley saying, as always, may your favorite teams always come up winners. Good night, America, wherever and whomever you may be. From all of us here at the L2C Sports Little Ranch here at the Fred McLeod Sports Desk at our lovely little Tom O'Neill Studios in Jackson. Steve Baxley, thank you. This has been a presentation of Mystifying Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports, and of course, YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Have a great morning here on the West Coast. No, here on the East Coast. On the West Coast, it's still evening. But guess what? Either way, thank you, boys. Thank you for watching. We'll do better tomorrow. Yeah, right. Bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night. God bless. And, of course,